This program basically creates different stories based on a given story template. So, a story template is defined as a loosely defined story. The text that we see here in this black colored box represents a story template. As we can see, there are certain words in this text that have been enclosed within brackets, and these words that we call labels in this program, they let us put different adjectives, names, and nouns in this story template, and subsequently form different stories based on this same template. Each of these labels is can have a list of different values, and these values are placed on the disk in a file named after the label. So for instance, the label country would have a file on the disk named country.txt, where the file would contain a list of different countries, and different versions of the story could end up having different countries. Similarly, there's another label called time frame, which lists all the different time units that the story can have in place of labels named time frame. So, an example of a story that could be built out of this story template would be something like this. In Kenya, a long time ago, nearly 245 decades ago, there lived a pink fun tiger. It so loved to sing and dance, but there was a angry gigantic lion named Lance that scared it so much. And an other story version based on that same template could read something like this. In Ecuador, a long time ago, nearly 105 months ago, there lived a yellow jovial polar bear. It so loved to sing and dance, but there was a furious, angry rabbit named Albert that scared it so much. So essentially, by using the same story template, we end up having different stories by just changing certain words within that story template. And the the internal mechanisms, the internal framework, the internal engine of this program resides entirely in this file called gladlibmap.java, and the control in this file begins right at the end from in the function make story. In this function, we begin by first reading the story template itself, which has been placed in a file named madtemplate2.txt. Once this template has been read, we move on to reading all the different values that the labels within the template can have, and this logic occurs in the function initialize from source. What this function does is it creates a hash map, and the keys of that hash map represent all the labels within the story template. So in this case, these labels are country, noun, animal, adjective, color, etc. And against each key, we maintain an array list where the array list contains all the possible different values that label can have. So once we have this hash map populated, and once we have the story template loaded into the memory, we start analyzing the story template through a series of different functions. And whenever we come across a label in the story template, we replace that label with one of the several possible different values that label can have. And this way, we end up creating different stories based on that same story template. Moving on to a live demo of the project, I have the project loaded in my BlueJ IDE, and I have it compiled as well. So all I need to do is right click on it and run its main function. And since the location of the template file and the location of all the label files have been hard coded into this program, when I run this program, it automatically fetches them, and simply what it gives as output is a story based on the original template filled out with label values selected at random. So this is what we see here on the screen in the console. On the BlueJ console is a story version created out of the template. If I run this again, if I run this program again, I'll get a different version of the story, and if I run it again, I'll still get another different version of the story.